Hi, everybody. As Jerry said, I'm Bryan David Johnson. I wanted to come back and report out what we have been doing since we were here last year. And what I wanted to tell you is that I spent my morning, this morning, doing what I have been doing for the past 998 mornings of my life. I've been doing the same thing. I was on the phone with Joe Zawadzki. Where's Joe? Joe, where are you? He's probably hiding. There he is. He's right over there. You may not know who Joe Zawadzki is, but you will in just a moment. Joe runs something called the Tomorrow Project. And the Tomorrow Project is the public side of the futurism and the future casting work that I do at Intel. And the idea behind the Tomorrow Project is that we want to have conversations about the future. We ask people, what is the future you want? What is the future you want to avoid? And we ask them to send us stories. We ask them to send us their visions for the future. And I think it was on 960, my 960th morning with Joe Zawadzki. He called me and was super excited to tell me that we had passed 1,000 stories. That we had 1,000 visions of the future that were written by people all over the world. And to me, I'm completely humbled by this fact. I'm also completely humbled by the work that Joe does, and I'm now going to make him blush because I'm going to ask him to stand. Joe, will you please stand? And can you please all thank Joe Zawadzki for me? He is the driving force behind the Tomorrow Project. Joe is the driving force behind what we signed up to do last year at the Feast, which was to pull together visions of the future from people all over the world. And so today we are officially launching the Tomorrow Project anthology for 2013 called Cautions, Dreams and Curiosities. And you should have gotten a copy of this. If you didn't get a copy, we can also track it down. We're going to give it away for free online. And in the anthology is full of people that you probably know. We have people like Cory Doctorow, we have Madeline Ashby, we have an alumni from the Feast last year, Adam Steltzner from NASA. But more importantly, there are people in here, people who have given us their visions that you really should know. And there's a gentleman by the name of Benjamin Hylack, who is here, and I'm going to ask him to stand up. Please stand up, Ben. Ben wrote us a story. He was 15 years old. And we wanted to find out from him what his vision of the future was. And he wrote a story called Bread, which is crazy. It's an awesome story. But Ben, we wanted to thank you so much. Can you please give a round of applause for Ben? If you haven't met him already, thank you, Ben. Also, Ben's parents are here as well, which is so great. They actually traveled down to come. Now, inspired by the ideas and the visions of people like Ben, we are in the midst of a project that we call the Future Powered by Fiction. And I need your help with this. The Future Powered by Fiction is this idea that we want to get young minds telling us their vision for the future. Ultimately, they're the ones who are going to build the future. So we want to hear from them, what do they want the future to look like? What are they worried about? What do they think is awesome? So we have this competition going on, and there's the URL up there. I think it's going to go till November. And we've got some prizes, but what we've signed up for is that every story, every vision, every comic book, every essay that gets sent to us and goes through our editorial board, we will publish every single one of them. Because we want to make sure that we're taking the visions of that next generation and getting them out so that we can all understand that we are the tool makers. That it is our job to understand what the next generation wants and what they want to avoid, and that we then give them the tools to build it. I think that is my job as a futurist, and I think because you are here at the Feast, you believe that is your job. So if you have any young minds like Ben who might want to do this, please go to that URL and please have them submit. Now, we're signing up for something for next year, just because we love the Feast so much. So we have now over 1,000 visions of the future from people all over the world, from Germany, from England, from Brazil, from China. And the goal of the Tomorrow Project really is to start a global conversation about the future. So one of the things we wanted to announce today as well that we're signing up to do over the next year is we are working with our friends from Bing. And see, there's our friends from Bing. We're working with our friends from Bing. They have provided us a universal translator that we're going to put on the Tomorrow Project website so tomorrow-projects.com. And the idea is that anybody, anywhere in the world, can read a vision of the future from anybody else, anywhere in the world, in their native language. So we're trying to pull down as many barriers as we can to get as many people reading and sharing and having those conversations. Now, if you know anything about translators and machine translation, is it gets you about 90% of the way there. It's a really awesome translator. It gets you about 90% of the way there. So I wanted to ask your help to get us to the next 10%. What we want to do is we want to crowdsource the fine-tuning of these stories and of these visions. So if you speak French, or you speak German, or you can speak Mandarin, or any of these languages, to go out and refine them. Take it from that 90% and get us to that 100%. Get us to the point where we've got these wonderfully crafted visions of the future from people that are refined in that language, that we understand the nuance. And what Joe and I are signing up to do is that if we get 10 stories in a given language that have been crowdsourced, we will then publish a new anthology. We will publish an anthology in that. We will put it up online, and we'll also publish out stories and put it into the hands of people. And it is my goal to come back next year here with a huge stack of books. My challenge is I want to get at least 25 Tomorrow Project anthologies in 25 different languages from all over the world. Because again, that's the goal. I think that's the goal of why we're here, is to have this conversation about the future, to interact with people, but then do something about it. That's what the Tomorrow Project is all about. That's why we're a huge fan of the Feast, and why it's a pleasure for myself as a futurist, as an individual, but also as a representative of Intel, to be here. So with that, I say, please go out there, get translating. We need your help. I want a stack. I want as many anthologies as we can to get as many of those visions out there. So please, we need your help. And the one thing I want to leave you with is this notion of how we make change, how we actually change the future. That's why we're all here. And this is baked into the idea of the Tomorrow Project, that the way that we change the future is we change the story that people tell themselves about the future that they will live in. If we can change the story that people are telling themselves about the future that they will live in, we can actually change the future. We can make it better, we can do good, and we can make the future awesome. So I think that's what you're doing here today, and how you change that story is by conversations. And that's what the Tomorrow Project is about, and that is my challenge to you, is to change the future. Thank you very much.